نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. Oh Allah, nothing is easy unless you make it easy and make our worries easy as you will. Allahumma inna nas'aluka ilman nafi'a. Oh Allah, we ask you for beneficial knowledge, because there's a lot of kind of knowledge. So what you want to ask for is knowledge that is beneficial. What is طيبة and halal rizq wa amalan mutaqabbala, and whatever we do, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept. Allahumma allimna ma yanfa'una. Oh Allah, teach us what benefits us. Okay? You might get beneficial knowledge, but you might not learn beneficial knowledge. You might learn and focus on the wrong things. So this is such a beautiful dua. Oh, Allahumma allimna ma yanfa'una wanfa'na bima 'allamtana, and benefit us from what you have taught us, so we can use it, benefit us, right? We use it either for ourselves or for others. Wazidna ilma, and increase us in knowledge. Then this is similar to a Quranic ayah. Rabbana hab lana hukman. Oh Allah, give us wisdom, things to judge, make us firm. Wa alhiqna bis salihin, and make us from among those who are the righteous, the salihin that will enter Jannah. Waj'al lana lisana sidq, and make our speech truthful. That is, that we don't make stuff up to lie, right? Fil akhiri, and basically we want to be among the truthful. The concept is on the day of judgment, we want to be among those who are recognized as the people of the truth. Or in the end, like you can say, we want to be considered truthful from our very beginning to the very end of us, right? وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْ وَرَثَةِ جَنَّةِ النَّعِيمِ, and make us from the inheritors of the blissful paradise. Allahumma ameen. I'll move quickly. I'm just starting slow to kind of build up the pace, inshallah. Okay, so Barakallah Fiki, Sabah made this beautiful slideshow, which is extremely important. So inshallah we'll talk about the importance of knowledge. So here it's a hadith that you should start with Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Then Allah subhanahu, when you start with this, you get 30 good deeds, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes away 30 bad deeds from you, right? And this is a hadith which is muttafaq alayh. We'll understand what that means inshallah. It's in Bukhari and Muslim. Every book of knowledge, especially all the knowledge of fiqh, start with this. Not that they should, but it's an excellent hadith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Man yuridillahu bihi khayran yufaqihu fid din. When Allah wants good from someone, He gives that person understanding of the religion. Meaning, if you don't have understanding for the religion, Allah has no use of you for doing good to others. You understand? Whoever Allah wants good from, He gives him a firm understanding in the deen. 100%. This is why we're here, inshallah. Okay? This is why we're here. Barakallahu feekum. Man salaka tariqan yaltamisu fihi ilman sahhala Allahu lahu tariqan ila al-jannah. Whoever takes a path toward knowledge, and Allah makes that path easy for him and makes the path to Jannah easy for him as well. Okay? But with knowledge, sincerity is extremely important. We always have to check ourselves, and especially myself, I'm sitting over here in this very honorable position. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make me worthy of this position. But first and foremost, I have to check my niyyah. Am I doing this so that I look good to people, in front of people? Do I want benefit? Or is my niyyah to benefit you for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What is my niyyah? So you have to check your niyyah. Why are you here? Are you going to take this knowledge to boast? Or are you going to take this knowledge and make it beneficial knowledge? Right? Okay. So your niyyah is extremely important. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ Who has heard this? Alhamdulillah. Everybody understands what that means, right? All actions are based on intentions. Every single action is based on intention. This is a usul of our deen. Everything. You can learn everything, and if your niyyah is not to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever you do, nothing. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Okay? Oh, I don't know what happened. Again, pure intentions. I think we can move on. We already did the dua, so Sabah, we're going to skip that, inshallah. So let's dive in, inshallah. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You guys ready for drinking from a fire hose, inshallah? We're going to go fast, okay? So I'm not going to necessarily cover everything, but we have about 90 pages. Can somebody do the math in 4 hours? Since you guys, we're starting half an hour late, I'm going to keep you a half an hour late. 90 pages in 4 hours. How many minutes per page do I need to spend? Just open up a calculator, please. I'm asking. Barakallahu feekum. Okay. Objectives of this course. We live in a time of turmoil right now and mass confusion. You guys don't even realize it. We're in our little comfort zones. But the choices that we make today will impact maybe not us so much. Definitely our community. Definitely our children. Most definitely our children. In the early 90s when I came here to the US, just an anecdote. In the early 90s when I came into the US, homosexuality was taboo. Taboo, nobody talked about it. Oh, you know. In just 30 years, it's complete opposite. Subhanallah. I mean, mind-blowing. Abdurrahim, you remember. It's like mind-blowing. What was taboo is now politically correct. Subhanallah. How did that happen? It's going to happen. When you guys grow up, you have your children, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, it's going to be very difficult times. Very, very, very difficult times. Okay? What started this? So Muslim Ummah was the superpower. I'm not talking about glory days, I'm just telling you reality. Collapse of the Ottoman Empire in the early 1900s, okay? The seeping in of, okay, so before the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, Muslims were, everybody, I don't know how many of you know this, especially the kids, I don't know if you know this, Muslim Ummah was the superpower. People used to come to the Arab world, to the Middle East to study. Jews came to the Middle East to study. Everybody came to the Middle East to study. When the Dark Ages were around, when they were lifted, people were coming to learn Arabic. Arabic was the lingua franca, it wasn't English. Everybody spoke Arabic. Okay? Those were the times where the Ummah, even though it has lots of its issues, we were rooted in our tradition of Sunnah and Sharia. Everything was rooted. Collapse of the Ottoman Empire. External influences started to seep in. Modernity started. The start of modernity created questions in people's head. Muslims lost political and educational capital. Western thought kind of start to mess with people's head. People start to get Western education. Traditional Islam was challenged by the scientific method. If you can't measure it, see it, observe it, it doesn't exist. God doesn't exist, right? Western historical critical method. Does anybody know about the HCM? You come across it in college one way or another, whether they call it that or not. How to actually criticize and historicize what we understand to be knowledge. How do you authenticate? It's the historical critical method, as an example. Theories of criticism, like the feminist theory, or the gender theory, or this theory, or that theory, what have you. People had these questions. What was the response to the ummah? By the way, is this big enough for everybody? Okay. What is this? What was the response of our ummah in the 1900s? Some said, Allah is punishing us because now we have abandoned our deen and we're, wearing pants and using microphones and music. We were singing and dancing, and we're adopting Western tradition. We're abandoning our own tradition. Allah is punishing us. So we need to go back to the roots. Whatever we did in the past, 1300 years is all wrong. We've gone away. We've left the way of the Salaf. And this gave birth to movements such as the Salafi movement and the extremist movements, for example. Nothing against them. Okay, I'm just giving you facts. Okay, I'm not creating a negative idea. I'm just saying this is a natural response. Some people do that. I mean, Allah is punishing us because we did wrong. Okay, for example, when Hurricane Katrina came, what were most of the Christians and evangelists saying? Allah is punishing New Orleans. Right? In 2005 or something? Yeah. Others went on the completely other side. It's like, Islam doesn't make sense. We need to reform our deen. We need to reinterpret certain things. Then there were others who were like, oh, the end of the world is coming. There's another response, right? End of the world is coming. We need to wait for the Messiah. This is a time of great tribulation. They're not doing anything to benefit anybody, but they're comforting themselves with Mahdi is coming. Isa alayhi salam is coming. It's the end of times. This is how it is, and we'll just deal with it, right? The Messianic tradition. Even the Salaf, they said, okay, let's go back to the roots, and they were actually looking for the re-emergence of the Khilafah. Oh, the Khilafah needs to come back because we've lost it. This is a punishment. We need to rebuild the Khilafah. ISIS, right? Chaos. Then there are balanced people that have been around since the Ummah, since the beginning of the Ummah, and they're still around today, which are, they could probably do more, and that's my humble attempt today. There are folks like me, for example, that I wish to be, for example. I'm trying to make up a new word, and Google doesn't know what it means. Usulis, or foundationalists, as I'm calling it right now. These are people who are grounded in the principles of our deen. Okay? They know where the boundaries are, but they also know the plurality in our deen. The tolerance for the difference in opinion. How you can apply the deen. How do you understand it? It's not hard. It's not set in stone in a way, so to speak. Because if you open up the Quran, if you open up the Sunnah, you will find anecdotal things, but you will also realize they are all rooted in principles. Inshallah, we will learn those principles. Those principles give you plurality. Okay? Those principles give you plurality. You will find that in the Seerah over and over. You will find that in the Quran over and over. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, don't you use your brain? Don't you use your brain? Don't you use your brain? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us faculties. وَجَعَلَ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ وَالْأَفْئِدَةَ قَلِيلًا مَا تَشْكُرُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you hearing so you can listen to information and data. وَأَبْصَارَ, and He gave you eyes, really insight. He gave you insight. He gave you wisdom. وَالْأَفْئِدَةَ, so you can actually be compassionate. He gives you heart with feelings. And so you can judge, is for right from wrong, okay? These are the faculties. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to question us for these faculties. We have to use these faculties. I'm not saying we're not using these faculties, but in order to use these faculties, you have to understand how the Sunnah encourages, how our Sharia encourages the use of these faculties. I'm not saying that doesn't mean you abandon all Western thought. No, you take the benefit from where it comes from. Fi kullin khair, right? Everything has benefit. Everything has benefit. But you have to have the discernment to judge what I'm adopting. Is it beneficial or is it harmful? You understand? You have to develop this sense of discernment. This little piece, I'm going to move on now. This little piece comes from one of my sheikhs. His name is Sheikh Tariq Al-Gawhari. Brilliant Usuli guy. He has a website called Making Sense of Islam. Go listen. He has a free course, a very small course, $30 or something, and you can listen to the audio that he goes into much more detail. This is where I got this from. I mean, the way he presented this is mind-blowing. I mean, subhanAllah, it's amazing. It's just audio. And he has a podcast too, free podcast. You all can listen. You know, fi kullin khair. You know, there's some opinions which I don't necessarily agree with, but it's okay, you know. Brilliant mind, Sheikh, okay? Sheikh Tariq Al-Gawhari, okay? I can, since I'm sharing my screen, I'll just show you, making sense. He has a Instagram and YouTube and whatnot. This blue logo is what you need to remember. Okay, I highly recommend you guys start listening to his podcast. It's very nice, making sense of his stuff. Okay, he has a thing in there called understanding the Muslim mind. A lot of what he's going to talk about, we're going to cover inshallah in this course. Okay, so but you know he'll give you a little bit more detail in a slower pace. Okay, what are the objectives of this course? Well, why am I doing this? Why do I feel passionate about this? Like I said, yes, you can tell, I want to ground you all in Usul, root you in principles. You're not going to learn everything, but you're going to know, I think Adnan said this and that. Let me go look into it, okay? Because if you have a question, okay? And how to apply those principles in our daily lives, in the world around us, in the socioeconomic situation. And I want to empower you to be able to defend the doubts that arise from your heart. When you come across something, it's like, I don't agree with this. This doesn't make sense. You know, if you come across a hadith, women who pluck their eyebrows, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's curses upon them. How do you understand that? Do you take that literally? Or what's going on there? Okay? Atheism, rise in atheism. Our children are running away from Islam because they don't even know to understand things that were done thousands of years ago in proving this logical proofs for existence of God. Like if you have half a brain, you can't deny. And I'm not just saying that from a point of bias. Christians have spent a lot of time. We'll talk about that too in our Aqidah class I think tomorrow. I'm going really slow. Historicization. I want you to know this word. Historicization and reinterpretation. What does that mean? Quran said, homosexuality is bad, for example. But, okay, I'm going to talk about really hardcore things, okay? I want you to guys be, very adult about that, okay? Historicization. Homosexuality. That's not quite right. That was that time. That was long ago. Those things don't apply today. So you historicize it. You just throw it away. You just look past it. We need to reinterpret the Quran. The whole gender roles and the hierarchy that's in the Quran and our Sharia about gender roles, that's outdated. Women and men are equal. How do we understand that, for example? Discrediting centuries of scholarship. The Salaf, for example. Hanafi, Shafi'i, Maliki, all of this has created more problems. They're just making stuff up. We need to go back to the Salaf. We don't need to adopt any madhab. Abandon scholarship. The westernized mind is doing the same. We need to abandon centuries of work on the shoulders that we are sitting on today. I want to give you appreciation for that beautiful work, and my goal is to kind of blow your mind. That's what I'm trying to do. I want to blow your mind to discourage you from coming up with opinions on your own with uninformed backgrounds. Humility, be humble, okay? You don't know enough. I don't know enough. There's so much out there, okay? And then we'll come to that, inshallah. And really, the last thing is I want to discourage a caution against derivation of personal Islamic understanding when you don't know, from a place of ignorance. Okay, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Why is knowledge important? We can talk about this for days, but I'll just leave you with just one ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, this is just one example of many, many, many. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, suggesting Rasulullah tell others, قُل, tell them, هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون? Do you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks a lot of rhetorical questions in the Quran, right? Are the people of knowledge the same that people have no knowledge? Meaning what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, no, they're not the same. People of knowledge. إِنَّمَا يَتَذَكَّرُ أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. If you want to get closer to Allah, to get to true knowledge, you have to develop knowledge. You can't be ignorant. Okay? Alright. Okay, now, just a quick intro. Our deen, okay, so we're going to talk about lots of frameworks and models. Okay? So all our deen, believe it or not, science comes from Islam. Okay? The word PhD, it's rooted in Islam. Doctor of Philosophy is rooted in Islam. Universities are rooted in Islam. Science and everything that you know came from Islam. Why? Because of Iqra. Iqra. Okay, I'm going off into tangent and come back. Okay. What I call Islam has roots and we have fruits. Okay, this is what I call it. What are the roots of Islam? Quran and Sunnah are the roots. Okay, this is called our text with a capital T. Okay, scripture, text, whatever you want to call it, text. That's Quran and Sunnah. What is Sunnah? We'll understand, inshallah. We'll understand all of this. Okay. Oh, by the way, ask questions. I'm not discouraging you to ask questions. Ask questions, but there is a if there's something that we want to follow up, we'll record it in the parking lot. I have my little assistant over there, a brilliant lady, Hiba. She will jot down your questions, and if you want, I can share a link so you can type your own questions. Okay? Yes.
22 minutes an hour.
Yeah.
About 3.5.
Yeah, I know. This is important. I need to spend a lot of time here because I want to make sure you build the right momentum, inshallah, before we go. Barakallah fi. Keep doing that, okay? I appreciate it. So roots and fruits, right? So roots, we understand. Where do we get our deen from? We get our deen from really one root, and that is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Quran came from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We often forget that. We have to forget that. It's like, oh, Quran is from Allah, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we only get the Sunnah. No. We get everything from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, including the Quran. Okay? And what are fruits? Fruits give us what is our creed? What do we believe in? Right? What do we believe in? How should we live our lives? Okay? What do we believe in? There's a fancy word for it. It's called orthodoxy. Okay? Orthodoxy. Creed. Okay? Fancy word. Orthodoxy. Then there's orthopraxy. It gives us practices. How do we live our lives how to do the proper worship, which is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or to or dealing with the people around us, right? Or the environment around us. And then there's the spiritual practice. How do we do? Self-improvement, tazkiyah. Both are orthopraxy. So orthodoxy and orthopraxy, they are fruits, not roots. We learn how to do those things from the Sunnah. And I'm using the Sunnah now in a broader sense. Okay, how ulama in the past used Sunnah is, Quran is part of the Sunnah as well. Okay, understand? Okay, alhamdulillah. So, roots and fruits. Okay, so Hadith Jibril, I'm not going to go too detailed. I think you must have heard it many times before. Just for brevity, I'll just say, toward the end of the Madani period, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the masjid, he was sitting down. A man came really clean, with no signs of travel. And this is one of the most important hadith of our deen. Okay, this is called Sunnah. This is called the foundation of Sunnah, and Sunnah in the broader sense. Okay, Sunnah in the broader sense, which is our deen. So a man came, sat in front of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, very close to him, and started to ask him questions. He asked, "What is Islam?" And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam responded with the 5 pillars of Islam. "What is Iman?" And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam responded with the 6 pillars of Iman. And then he asked, "What is Ihsan?" And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam responded with the 2 pillars of Ihsan. And we'll look at them really quickly. I'm just giving you an overview of the hadith. And then he asked them, "Do you know when the day of judgment is going to arrive? Sa'ah. Okay, when is the hour?" And he's like, the one being asked doesn't know any more than the one who's asking, meaning nobody knows. I don't know, you don't know, that man. And then he's like, "What are the signs of the hour, the day of judgment?" And Rasulullah listed some minor signs. After that man left, the Sahaba were so respectful of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why were they respectful? Because Quran demanded respect for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Quran demands it. Okay, before I go off on my tangent, I need to slow myself down. Okay, so Quran demands respect for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You just take it for a fact right now. Then Umar radiallahu anh, he's the one narrating this. He developed courage to ask Rasulullah, "Who was that? Who came?" And he's like, "That was Jibril. He came here to teach you your deen. He came here to teach you your religion." Wow. Do you know what that means? That means that those questions that Jibril alayhi salam asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is everything you want to know that is your deen. Okay? So what do we get? We get, oh, by the way, there's many narrations of this hadith. It's narrated in different wordings. Sometimes the question is Iman is asked first, what are the pillars of what is Iman, and then the pillars of Iman is described, and then what is Islam is later. At the end of the day, you get 3 areas, right? Islam, Iman, and Ihsan. It's really Iman, Islam, and Ihsan. Okay. We all know what Islam is, right? Praying, fasting, zakah, hajj, and also the number 1 part is what the common thread among all of them is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Bearing witness that there is no God. Shahada, mean you just do, it's not in your heart, it's on your lips, it's in your actions. Okay, so Islam is the external manifestation of your Iman. Okay, what is Iman? Iman is in Allah, it's in your heart, it's the matters of the heart. Okay, and it's Iman billah, wa malaikatihi, wa kutubihi, wa rusulihi, and wal qadr. So it is in Allah, in the angels, in the books, in the messengers, and in divine destiny, divine decree, the good of it and the bad of it, right? So if when we're in trouble, when bad things are happening to us, we know it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is part of our qadr, okay? So a Muslim is always comfortable. It's not depressed, okay? A true mu'min is always comfortable because tribulations come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so understanding iman, and then ihsan. Rasulullah responded with such a beautiful, eloquent answer, so powerful. We can talk about it for days on end. He's like, that you worship Allah as if you can see Him, okay? But if you cannot see Him, know that He sees you. So which means that worship Allah as if you can see Him, as in, you need to, your whole life approach should be to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you worship Him like He's there, right? You see Him, okay? He exists. Not just physical worship, it is internal worship, right? It needs to move you. But if you cannot do that, but know that He's watching you, which means every single action that you're doing, whether it's worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or dealing with people, or dealing with the environment, or throwing garbage on the streets, know that Allah is watching you, okay? So everything from our deen comes from this. So when I told you about orthodoxy, orthopraxy, that comes from here, okay? The roots and the fruits, okay? The roots are Quran and Sunnah, and the fruits are Iman, Ihsan, and Islam, okay? Also, I want to talk about this very, very important. By the way, is this big enough for everybody? Is it? Okay, alhamdulillah. We're going to talk about a lot of frameworks and models, which our ulama crafted, okay? I want you to know one thing. So obviously there's going to be a lot of Islamic bias coming from what I'm going to share from you. But at the same time, we need to use our brain at the same time, okay? You can't turn your brain off. You cannot. Because if you do, then you're not doing justice to yourself or to the deen, okay? All models and frameworks are wrong. Bold statement, right? It's meant to be bold statement. Every model and framework that you learn is wrong. How is it wrong? It's not wrong. But they're useful. They're not wrong. So reality is complex. Reality is extremely complex. You can't reduce reality into just a set of categories and those kinds of things, right? Are you following what I'm saying? Everybody with me? Okay. You can't say it's A, B, C, D, and A has these subcategories 1, 2, 3, and B has these subcategories 2, 3, 4, whatever. No, reality cannot be described by a model or framework. Reality is extremely complex, interdependent, very fragile, can be broken by external influence. All models are wrong. Okay, just keep that in mind. So we're going to go through models, but keep in mind, they're not going to fully describe reality. I'm going to give you a framework to understand Hadith. Okay, it's a framework. It's a very good framework, crafted over centuries of Islamic tradition, right? Beautiful. Does it help you understand some of the complexities of Hadith sciences? No. Okay. Fiqh. There's books written on Usul al-Fiqh, how to derive fiqh. You start using the tools and your brain is going to melt, okay? Okay? Your brain is going to melt. All models are wrong, but some are useful. Inshallah, today we will cover the useful models, okay? Priorities. So what is our priority? It is based on Hadith Jibril, Iman, Islam, and Ihsan. Okay, inner convictions. So we're going to talk a little bit about tazkiyah right now. One thing I did want to say though, this whole class that I'm trying to put together here for you is my humble attempt to give you frameworks and understanding. But I am not able to give you the content of the Quran and the content of the Hadith. I cannot. You just have to do that on your own. In order to truly appreciate this, what we're going to talk about, you have to know the Quran and the Sunnah. You have to have read at least some books of Hadith. You have to have at least a surface level knowledge of the Quran. And if you don't, then it's going to give you a lot of benefit, but only to a certain extent. You're just going to have to take my word for it. You're not going to be able to feel it. It's not going to become, it's not going to go here, it's going to go here. You understand? There's a difference. What you're going to learn, if it's going here, then you know that you need to work on yourself for it to go here and then here. Okay? And if it doesn't go here, then just work on yourself. Okay? Never too late to start. I started really late. Very, very late. And I'm really, really, really behind. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Okay. Beginning with the end in mind. So before we talk about all of this science, we need to understand, what is the purpose of our science? Some people just get lost in science. So I want to take you out of science for a second. And I want to actually talk about what is the purpose, okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-Mulk what is our purpose, right? He created death and life so that He tests who from among us does best, right? Regardless of your position, where you are. Who one of us does best. But there's a hadith which gives us another framework, okay? All models are wrong, again, okay? There's a hadith that gives us another framework, very important framework. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what is our goal? To go to Jannah, right? Is our goal, Radallah, yeah? With the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is our goal. How do we get to Jannah? Very simple. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, أَكْثَرُ مَا يُدْخِلُ الْجَنَّةِ تَقْوَى اللَّهِ وَحُسْنُ الْخُلُقِ. The thing that will take you to Jannah the most, the things that will help you to go to Jannah the most is taqwa, mindfulness and God consciousness. Right? Remember? Hadith Jibril? Allah is watching you. Right. Mindfulness, taqwa, wa husnul khuluq. And good conduct. Good conduct. Okay? We'll break this down a little bit. Okay. So Iman, you can say 6 pillars, but really there are 2 primary pillars. One is what? Belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And then belief in the last day. So everything in the middle, all of the other pillars kind of fall in the middle. They teach us how to be successful on the last day. Okay, so just remember that. It's Iman in Allah and what's going to happen in the hereafter. Okay, to us. Okay. Nafsi, nafsi. Even the prophets on the Day of Judgment will be saying, me, I'm worried about me. Adam alayhi salam will be saying, nafsi, nafsi. Musa alayhi salam will be saying, nafsi, nafsi. Everyone. Ibrahim alayhi salam would say, nafsi, nafsi. Everybody will be saying me. Nobody's going to be worried about another. Everybody's going to be naked and nobody's going to worry about that they're being naked. Everybody's going to be worried about themselves. Okay? So it is not selfish to think about hereafter selfishly. Understand? Okay. Understand? Goal. Okay. Alright. Reality. Reality check. Yeah? We all understand husn al-ibadah. Worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as we see Him. And now let's talk about Allah is watching us. Okay? So good character, just remember, you cannot see Him yet. You should keep in mind that He is watching you, and you have to take care of all your relationships. So we have outputs. We're human beings. We have hearing, we have sight. We can move, we can do things. We interact with what's around us in this universe. In this universe, we can affect the universe, right? We can affect people. We can affect animals. We can affect the environment. We can affect even the universe, right? We can come up with technology to create a black hole and everything gets sucked in, right? Could happen. As an example, there are these relationships that we have to do ihsan with. Okay, the husn al-khuluq. All of these, they're priority, They start with our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Priority, right? Then parents, right? Then our family and our spouse and our children. Then our relatives, right? These are all Islamic priorities, okay? Then our community, then our humanity, and the animals, and the environment, and we can't forget ourselves. We have to have a good relationship with ourselves. It's very important. Are we taking care of this blessing that Allah gave us? Are we feeding our soul with soul food, with good soul food, right? Are we enriching our mind? Are we enriching our body physically? Are we enriching our spirit, our soul, right? Are we, and our soul has, وَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us rebellious emotions and things that guard us, right? Intellect that can guard us, right? How are we balancing our emotions? That's also a relationship with ourselves, right? Are we learning to curb our emotions? Or are we letting them fujuraha? We just let the emotions just explode, right? So, long story short, good conduct is all of these things. Good conduct with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the book of Allah and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and good conduct with the makhluk, the khaliq and the makhluk. Okay? Good conduct with the creator and the creation. And everything is creation. So that is good conduct. Going back, why am I talking about this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, right? If you want to get to Jannah, you have to have mindfulness of God and good conduct. Husnul khuluq. Okay, excellent. The Quran talks about stations, okay? These ultimate objectives of good conduct, okay? For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's patterns in the Quranic ayat, over and over and over. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, for example, why is fasting prescribed? Fasting, yes, it's a pillar of Islam, it's a way of life, but what is its purpose? لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So you develop God consciousness. Okay? So, in the Quran, the la'alla, it means so that they, so that you, so that, and so on and so forth. So that he, so that she. It comes again and again. These are purposes, objectives Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran. It is about, Allah says, so that you can develop understanding, so that you can be more guided, so that you can ponder, so that you can reason. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about reason, so that you can reason. Okay, use your brain. So that you develop taqwa, so that you develop mindfulness and belief, and so that you develop submission, Islam, right? You learn to submit to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that you're cautious, so that you're successful, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're eligible for His mercy, so that you seek Allah's pleasure, so that you become repentant. You look inwardly, so that you develop humility, so that you develop abstinence. You learn to curb your enthusiasm, right? So that you develop gratefulness, shukr, right? All of these. What are these things? These are the things we should be looking to attain. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and our Sunnah gives us these formulas in the Quran. Open up the book. All of these exist, right? And then there's other patterns in the Quran, like Allah loves and Allah does not love. Okay? So, for example, in Inna Allah yuhibbu, Wallahu la yuhibbu. These are patterns. One of the miracles of the Quran. If you actually look at the wording, Inna Allah yuhibbu and Inna Allah, Wallahu la yuhibbu, I forget which exact pattern, occurs exactly 33 times. Each of the Allah loves and does not love is 16 times. Exactly. Just a second. Okay? And we'll understand why this is miraculous, inshallah, when we go through. Okay, so what does Allah love and what does Allah does not love? Allah loves those who excel, those who do ihsan. Inna Allah yuhibbu tawwabin. Okay, those who are repentant. Wa mutatahhirin. And those who want to cleanse themselves. Okay, cleanse internally, our hearts, and externally. Right? Muttahhirin. Those who love clean things, right? Those who are muttaqin, the mindful. Those who are sabirin. Inna Allah yuhibbu as-sabirin. The patient people, the reliant people. Those who fight in the path of Allah. Fight with not just swords. Fight with your brain. Fight with your muscle. Fight with your pen. Okay? Fight with whatever ability. Fight with your wallet. Okay? Fight in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what He does not love. These are patterns again into the Quran. Allah does not love transgressors, those who break bounds, those who go outside of the bounds of the Sunnah. Allah does not like the corrupt people who cause corruption, or the traitors, or the wrongdoers, the zalimeen, wrong to the husn al-khuluq, the good conduct, okay? Wrongdoing to Allah is not believing in Him or not being obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is wrongdoing, okay? Associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, doing shirk is wrongdoing. Okay, dhulm, the biggest dhulm is shirk, but dhulm is also to people, okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not love the disbelievers and the rejectors, basically the kafirin, the ungrateful people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like people who are extremely happy when they get good things, because it should make you scared when you win a lottery, okay? That should actually scare you. Oh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving me a great responsibility, right? You've heard that Spider-Man uncle, what did he say? With great power comes great responsibility, okay? This should scare you instead of exultant, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like the people who deceive and the sinful and all of this. And then we know another pattern of the goals. Inna Allaha ma'a. Okay, Allah is with whom? Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not only appreciating what you do, He is helping you in these things. What? When you show patience, Allah is with you. When you show God consciousness, Allah is with you. When you believe, Allah is with you. And when you do ihsan, when you do good, when you excel, when you try to do some things in perfection as much as you can, Allah is with you. You understand? Okay, well, so a little bit of tazkiyah I want you to throw in there because I want to understand, I don't want to get lost in the sciences. Just keep these goals in mind. I don't want to discourage you from asking questions. Please, I'm going to pause for a second. Any questions so far? And I'm a human being, I'm going to forget to sometimes connect the dots sometimes. So if you're confused, ask a question. And if I can't answer the question because of the lack of time, we will put it in a parking lot, and that my lovely assistant is going to do. Any questions thus far making sense? Okay. Everybody, is this okay? Yes. Okay. Okay, so this was the last time where I'm trying to do tazkiyah right now. Okay? So the rest of this time is not a feel-good kind of talk. Okay? It's not gonna, don't expect coming out with the iman boost. The goal is you're gonna go out with the mind blown. Okay? Inshallah. That's the goal anyway. But I wanted to make sure we begin with the end in mind. As Stephen Covey said, beautiful book. He wrote the 7 habits of most successful people. And he said, number one thing, begin with the end in mind. So that's why I began with the end in mind, which is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Who's the author?
Stephen Covey, very famous book. 7 habits of highly effective people. All right. We live in an age where somebody's opinion is really, really important, whether they have a strong foundation or not. Okay? So there's different types of knowledge. So we have to understand. So this is now, we're going to talk about some principles in Usul. Okay? Stemmed from Islam. Okay? This is Muslim thinkers did this. Okay? Not Westerners. There are 2 types of knowledge. There's ilm al-daruri, the immediate knowledge, which is I know how to, like when a baby is born, it knows how to drink, right? And suckle from its mom, right? That's you get that, you learn that, you eventually know how to walk. I saw just a video yesterday where literally a newborn baby knew how to walk, like move their feet. Okay, the immediate knowledge, essential knowledge, and then there's knowledge that we acquire. We learn, oh, this is hot, I shouldn't touch this, right? This is cold, I want to drink cold water because it's hot, you know. And you learn this from experiences and using your brain, right? Rational knowledge. But that rational knowledge, is it going to help you realize or learn that Allah exists, or these are the boundaries? Is it going to give you your deen? Is your brain alone and your experiences alone going to give you your deen? It can't. It can. You have fitrah that leads you to it, but you still need a guide. By the way, this is a proof of prophethood. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends prophets, because He gives us what? So we have the rational knowledge that we're born with through experiences and the knowledge that we already have just because we're human beings. The other is transmitted knowledge. Ilm al-manqul. Okay? Ilm ma'qul. Okay? This is a knowledge that, rational knowledge, and then there's manqul, naqal. Naqal means transmission. Okay? Naqal means transmit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, revelation, Sunnah, through the prophets. So we can't take just one without the other. The Sunnah gives us these principles and anecdotes. Hear me carefully. Sunnah gives us principles and anecdotes that then we use our brain to apply. Understand? You can't be like the fundamentalist. They just throw an ayah at you. You know, oh, you shouldn't be doing this because blah, blah, blah. Right? Okay, great. Did you read this ayah? Did you read its context where it was in? Did you even realize that it's part of a larger passage? Do you know how Rasulullah, the companion, the Sahaba Karam, radiallahu anhum, how they understood it? Did they take it literally, or did they take it figuratively? Or how did they use it? Did they use it as a foundational principle, or was it literally a very, very, very specific example? You can't do that, right? You have to know all this stuff. You can't just throw hadith and ayah at people. You can't. Those who are doing that, you know, there should be like, if it were up to me, I'd put scarlet letters on people. I'm exaggerating. You understand what a scarlet letter is, right? In the old, have you ever heard this term? Okay. So in the old Christian days here in the U.S., those who committed an act of indecency, women especially, they used to put the letter A on their clothes. They used to sew the letter A. It's called the scarlet letter, in color scarlet, like an orange red. Meaning they bad, really bad, right? This person is bad. Anytime you see that person, you see that letter A on them, bad, right? Okay. So anyone who is just throwing stuff at you without nuance, you know that person has zero foundation in knowledge. Zero. So this should scare you. Just like somebody throws an eye at you and not giving you the rationale, and then you're like, I'm going to talk to my sheikh. I'm going to go learn more about it before I form an opinion. Instead of just joining. Okay, you understand? Okay. This rational, which is aql, and transmitted, which is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, naql, has been at war since the beginning of time. Okay? Iblis, what did he say? You tricked me. I'm better than him. What was naql? Do sajda. right? That's naql, right? Transmission. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, do this. And what did Iblis do? He prioritized his rationality over the naql, the order. Balance. There has been forever, and there has been and forever will be imbalance. Just remember that. Doesn't matter what I teach you. What I'm teaching you is recognizing that there is imbalance. I might say things today that will be imbalanced. I'm not denying that. You need to call me out on that. You understand? Okay. Is this blowing your mind already? Did you ever think about this, stuff like that before? Raise your hand. Is this interesting? Okay. Oh, levels of acquired knowledge. Okay. There's ignorance. I just don't know. You know, what time is it? I don't know. I don't have a watch. Okay. Then it's called jahl. Okay, jahl means ignorance. There's a worse kind of jahl though. It's called jahl murakkab, and that's the world we live in today. Jahl murakkab. I don't have it listed over here. It is not knowing that what you know is wrong. Who's the president of the United States today? Oh, it's Trump. No, it's Biden. No, it's Trump. Jahal murakkab. It's a double ignorance. Not knowing that you don't know. And being extremely confident, like overconfidence, is called Jahal murakkab. Okay? Humility is jahl. I don't know. Anecdote. Some people traveled far and wide to come to Imam Malik. List of 40 questions. It's like, we're going to ask Imam Malik, he's going to solve all our problems. Imam Malik said, I don't know, 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 for all 40 questions. I was like, why did I come to you? Imam Malik said, tell them that Imam Malik said, he doesn't know. Instead of what? What could Imam Malik do at that time? If he was really looking out for himself and not for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he could have made up answers, made himself look good to all these people that are coming from far and wide places. What did he say? I don't know. Today, if you say I don't know, it's a matter of, I can't say that. I'm going to look stupid. You have to just make something up and sound intelligent and put really pretty words around what I'm going to say. I'm going to sound really intelligent because I'm going to use all these fancy words. And then I really don't know though. Right? Fake it till you make it. That's the world we live in. Okay. You understand ignorance? The danger of jahal murakkab. Okay. Then there is waham, illusion. It's like you know a little bit, like today, you might develop some waham about Islamic sciences. That's my goal at least, okay, inshallah. To give you some waham, okay? Doubt, shak, okay? That is 50-50 knowledge. Knowledge 50-50. Like you might come across an ayah and a hadith and you put it all, you're trying to put together all of it. It's like, it could be this opinion or this opinion. For example, an excellent case study. We're not going to spend a lot of time to it. Salat al-Tasbih. Have you ever heard of Salat al-Tasbih? A lot of hadith around it. If you look at all the evidence, you might develop a doubt. You're like, I don't know. Like, is it bid'ah? Is it a good sunnah? Is it authentic? Should I do it? Or neither, but I shouldn't discourage. It's not bid'ah, it's not sunnah, but it shouldn't be discouraged. Shak. You understand? Shak. Okay. Wahm is like, I don't know, I know a little bit, I know it's weak hadith, I know there's all these opinions out there, it's just some knowledge, but you don't really have the knowledge to actually decipher and go into the shak world. Assumption, dhann. Okay, dhann is a higher level knowledge. It's not perfect absolute knowledge, but it is higher level knowledge. It's like you know as much as there is to know, but you're still having trouble with absolute knowledge, like knowing exactly, like 2 + 2 = 4 knowledge. You don't have it. You don't. Okay? But you are very sure it approaches 4. Like 2 + 2, I think, approaches 4. Pretty sure, but not 100% sure. Right? 1. Okay? It's higher than 50% knowledge. Okay? Then there's certainty, yaqeen. Okay? Absolute knowledge. 2 + 2 = 4. Okay? Allah exists. Okay? This Quran is authentic. Absolute knowledge. One will give you what? I've looked at all the evidence. Yeah, it's linguistic miracle. Yes, it's all of this stuff. Yes, it's mutawatir. And if you don't know what that word, we'll learn, inshallah. All of this is, but I don't have absolute knowledge. I'm an agnostic. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in God, so I'm not going to attribute this book to God. I don't know. Okay. But knowing is yaqeen. Okay, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Takathur, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about different categories of yaqeen even. Okay? There's ilmul yaqeen, knowing for certain. Then there's aynul yaqeen, the experience of certainty. You see it. Okay? This is why Ibrahim alayhi salam told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I want to see you. Right? I want to see how you raise up the dead. Musa alayhi salam wanted to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why Rasulullah went to Mi'raj. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted him to experience Ayatul Kubra, his wondrous, beautiful signs, right? Aynul yaqeen, it's important, right? Haqqul yaqeen, true and absolute knowledge. True and absolute knowledge. Okay, anyway, okay, good. Knowledge is classified, and the sources of knowledge are classified in 3 different categories. This probably becomes too technical, but please stay with me, okay? Stay with me. Am I blowing your mind already? I don't know if I am. I hope I am. A little bit, right? Source, so classification based on sources. Where it comes from, origin, its application, how do you apply it, right? And its authority. Okay? Authority as in, who is telling you? Like, there's a source. For example, Nuh alayhi salam drank a lot of wine. He was a drunkard. Astaghfirullah. Okay, that's knowledge. Where did it come from? Where's the origin? It comes from Hebrew Bible. What is the authority of Hebrew Bible? You understand? I'm just giving an example. Piece of information, where it came from, and what is the authority of that source. Okay? Everything you hear, you need to think about that. Everything. You hear something on Fox News or CNN or whatever. What's the source? And what is the authority of the source? Then I'm going to think about its application. Applying that knowledge. Okay? So, textual knowledge. Textual knowledge is Quran and Sunnah, or the Bible, or whatever, right? Textual knowledge. Non-textual knowledge. Our brain. Consensus, like we agree on something. Okay? It's not text. Right? It didn't come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It came from our opinion that we've arrived together. It's non-textual. Ra'i is called an opinion. Okay? So nas is an Arabic word. I'm not going to teach you a lot of Arabic today. I just have it just for kicks and giggles. Nas is text. Okay, text, which is Quran and Sunnah. And then there's Ra'i or ijtihad. Ijtihad is you derive. Okay, you have text, but something is not clear. Is marijuana haram? How do you come to that, right? It's ra'i, it's an opinion. So use analogy, or because it intoxicates the mind, then it kind of falls under that category. So it must be haram because according to other evidence, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, don't approach the prayer if you are intoxicated, antum sukara. So if I have marijuana, then I'm going to be not in my mind, I'm not going to be able to pray properly. So the same ruling applies, so this is it, right? You understand? Okay, that's analogy, right? Custom, urf. Urf is non-textual. The custom over here, like for example, some scholars today, I use the term scholar broadly, okay? Some scholars today will say, in America, hijab actually should not be mandatory, actually should be made mustahab. You don't really have to wear hijab because it actually attracts more attention, negative attention. There's papers and proofs and evidence written on that. Because in a Muslim country, you're going to get negative attention if you don't wear it. In a non-Muslim country, for example in France, you guys laugh. In France, should women be wearing hijab or not?
Yes.
It's just funny because
You understand? Like, question, you need to think. It's like, really, wow. Is somebody endangering their life for something? For example, I think I'm taking too long. Anyway, no? I'm taking too long. I know. But this is important. My goal is to give you as much. Maybe we can. Who's up for 2 weekends if you're enjoying this stuff? If you're not enjoying this stuff, I completely understand. Because it's not for everybody. You good?
Yeah, that's good.
I think this is right speed.
Yeah.
But, unfortunately,
Yeah.
kind of, we're going to be behind. But
Yeah.
it's okay. You can't go faster than this.
You like this? Is it good?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
What was I talking about? Yes. For example, we will learn about them later. Khawarij. Okay, the Khawarij mindset was they are torturing a Sahabi because he doesn't agree with the way they think. A group like the ISIS around the time of the Sahaba, torturing and killed a Sahabi, cut open his pregnant wife's stomach. But they were worried about eating a piece of tamar, date, a little date, from somebody else's garden without asking their permission. Or slaughtering somebody else's pig without asking their permission. They were worried about that, but not worried about killing a Sahabi, let alone a human.
That's crazy.
We will learn this. Ali radiallahu anh, he waged war on them. What was the priority there? Stealing is haram? Yes, it's haram. Is killing somebody haram? Haram. Yes. Are there levels of haram? Yes. Yes. There are levels of haram. Not all haram is the same haram. Not wearing hijab is haram? Yes. Endangering your life and the life of your children or your family, is that haram? Yes. I'm not giving you answers. I'm just helping you just think. Okay? I want you to get out of the world of slogans. Slogans, they don't mean anything. They pretend to be absolute knowledge, and they're nothing but jahal murakkab. Overconfidence that you know, rather than you don't know. Should women be wearing hijab in France? I'm not giving you any opinion. I'm just creating questions in your head. I want you to walk out with question marks in your head, inshallah. Make you humble. Okay?
No, but- sure.
Yeah.
Hijab is min al-thawabit. There is no debate in it at all.
So you already know the answer.
No, I mean
No.
that's how.
These are the times we're living in, guys, okay? These are the times our foundations are gonna get challenged. Okay? And we have to go back to the principles of our deen to understand what do we do? There's gonna be differences of opinion. We need to respect the opinion spectrum, pluralism, in the confines and boundaries of the Quran and Sunnah. You understand? That's what I'm saying. People will arrive at different conclusions. Don't be disrespectful. Debate with them academically, intellectually. Don't, because what is everybody trying to do? All of the good people. Those have good intentions, and you can tell who they are. Right? They have good intentions. Okay? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you do ijtihad, and your answer is correct, you get 2 rewards. And if you're incorrect, you get 1 reward. No punishment. Because you tried your best to arrive at an answer. Right? Okay. But when it comes to worship, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala flips it. If you recite the Quran properly, you get, the 10 reward per letter, right? But if you recite it incorrectly, but you're trying really hard, you actually get double the reward, right? Flip for worship. Yeah? You can actually use that analogy. Any kind of worship that you do, if you're struggling to do it the right way, you get double the reward from people who already know how to do it the right way. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to reward you for your effort. Man ahsanu amala. Whoever is trying to excel. If I'm already a good person and good natured, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made me patient, it's not because I taught myself patience. No. It's Allah gave me patience. Right? Allah could have made me a really wretched person who had a vile tongue. I try to control it to the best of my ability. I hate that about myself, that I'm really vulgar and loud, and I ridicule people without intention. It's very hard for me to control my emotions. Allah made me that way. Or Allah made me the opposite. From there, if I'm already a good person, I'm already a good person. I'm a Jannati. I'm going to go into Jannah because I'm just already a good person. Well, did you try? Or was that God given to you? What are you trying with that? It's like having a lot of money. A lot of something. A lot of money. You'd be like, I'm rich. Good. I can give a lot of charity and then whatever, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward me. Here's another person who had $10 of a salary that he made a month in Africa somewhere. $10 a month. And he gave me a bar of soap as charity. It's a true story, not me, but somebody else. He gave me a bar of soap that he ordered from somewhere. That's probably costed his month's saving. Is his sadaqah valued more in the eyes of Allah versus something? Okay, so all right, we're going somewhere else. I didn't mean to go there. Where were we? Yeah. So textual knowledge and non-textual knowledge. You understand? So the things that we arrive using our rationality. Like, am I going to do this? Harm avoidance. This is why I was talking about Orf and the hijab in France. One of our principles of our deen, la darar wa la darar. Okay, we'll learn this inshallah in more detail in our Usul al-Fiqh session. Look at the principles of arriving at laws, Usul al-Fiqh discussion, but this is a principle in our deen. It's a hadith of Rasulullah. La darar wa la darar. Or Quranic ayah, right after Ayatul Kursi, what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, La ikraha fi din. There's no compulsion in the deen. No, nobody can force you. harm avoidance. Your goal should be to avoid harm. If you're given two choices, both are not great choices, but one of them produces less harm, that's a better choice. Okay? For example, you must have heard the English equivalent of this. What did they say? Huh? The less of all two evils, or something like that. What is it? Something like that. Yeah.
The less evil.
Yeah, the less evil thing. Yeah.
But
Okay.
it's still evil.
But it's less. What do? We make those choices every day. We don't even realize. Right? Okay. So this is for the origin. So how you classify origin? Is it textual? Is it coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or is it from our brain? It is from aql or naql, right? So origin. Okay. Or some other source, some other textual source. Then application. Is this agreed upon, or is it just debatable? Right? Is it muttafaq ilayh, or is it mukhtalaf fi? Application. So you have some knowledge now. Is this agreed upon knowledge by all of the scholars of Islam? Like Salah is fard. Is it agreed upon? Has anyone disagreed? Anyone reputable? Right? Anyone reputable disagreed? No. Okay, it's agreed upon. So it's Salah is fard. Okay, debatable. Hijab in France is haram. Someone say. Is that debatable? Yes. It's debatable. Okay? So application. You understand application? So don't get lost in the debatable world. Stay in the agreed upon world. Okay? As part of practice, but you should definitely engage in the debatable world to make it better for others and life for others and have plurality. There are going to be differences of opinion. It happened during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It happened. There's a Sahabi. He became ritually impure in the middle of the desert, and it was freezing cold. But he's like, I can't miss Fajr prayer, or whatever prayer he was praying. I don't recall exactly. It's a Hadith. No, what was it? No, I'm mixing two things. I'm sorry. I apologize. A Sahabi got wounded in the head. Okay, and he was ritually impure. He got really, really badly wounded in the head. What would you do? If Salah time is coming and you're ritually impure, you spend time with your wife or what have you. What are you going to do if Salah is coming? What are you going to do if you have a big head injury? Would you do ghusl all the way through? Would you wet your head as well? That's exactly what the other Sahaba told them to do. It's like, no, too bad for you, man. You have to do ghusl. You have to wash your head all the way. People today will do the same exact thing, by the way. Exact same thing. He died out of infection. During the time of Rasulullah got so upset. He got face turned red. It's like, you killed him. Yeah.
That's his answer.
Right. You understand? Jumping to conclusions. Lots of examples like that. Okay, we're talking about Usul, so I'm in the Usul land right now. We'll switch to a different land in a bit, okay, inshallah. Making sense? Question marks in your head coming up right now, inshallah? Lots of them. I want to see lots of question marks. Okay? That's my goal. I want to make you humble. Less confident. Because you don't know. We don't know. It takes life long study, lifelong study, 40, 50, 60 years in one area to be able to have a very, very strong opinion. And this is what our ulama did in the past. We shall see, inshallah. Okay, I'll give you a break in 5 minutes, okay, inshallah. Let me just finish this, okay? Because we're on momentum. Okay, knowing all of this, there's a matrix that I want you to keep in mind. Okay, there's a matrix, a quadrant I want you to keep in mind. Okay, before we go to the matrix, so things that are definitive, there's a term for that in Usul. It's called Qat'i. It's absolute. It's like if I say the sky is blue, you're not gonna think it is green. You're gonna know it's blue because I told you it's blue, and you can see it. It's blue, and you experience it blue every single day during the day, right? If anybody comes to you and says, no, the sky is green, you're going to go, no, this is Qat'i knowledge. For example, the sun rises from the east. Qat'i knowledge, right? Definitive knowledge. You experience it every single day. It's part of your human experience. Everything. Speed of light. Qat'i knowledge, okay? Then there is a Zanni knowledge. Okay, a Zanni, probable knowledge. Okay? Which means it could be true, could not be true. Okay? Could be true or could not be true. Is it gonna be cold tomorrow or warm tomorrow? Tell me. Based on the season, it should be warm, but do you have Qat'i knowledge that it's gonna be warm tomorrow? No. It's one me. Okay? Okay, and then there is dalala, which is meaning-based knowledge. You base something on the way you derive the meaning from something. And then there's authenticity-based, as in you derive the meaning, but is it authentic information or inauthentic information? Okay, so, for example, thubut, authentic versus inauthentic. Quran versus Hebrew Bible. Which is more of an authentic source? Quran. And why? Just because you believe it? No. From this class, not because don't want you to just walk out and say, yes, I believe in the Quran. That's why it's authentic. No. I'll tell you exactly why. Okay? Okay? It's why it is authentic, right? Thubut. Okay. So, meaning-based. The Bible, for example, Hebrew Bible. Meaning-based, can you give evidence from it? Sure. Sure. Okay. It's probable knowledge, probable, lower probability maybe in some cases, high probability, okay, definitive, okay. So there's this matrix that you should all know about, okay. Definitive in meaning and definitive in authenticity. Okay, this is probably way too academic, but it's okay. Take a picture or whatever. And I'm going to eventually share these notes with you. I need to clean them up with you. Okay, definitive in meaning and definitive in authenticity, that is something that you can derive information from very comfortably. It's definitive in meaning and definitive in its authenticity. Okay, you can derive information from it. But you can also have, so is all of the Quran definitive in meaning and definitive in authenticity? It's definitive in authenticity. Is it definitive in meaning, every single ayah, every single word? So, I'm not saying, so this applies sometimes to an ayah level or sometimes at the whole text level. Sometimes it applies to one hadith or a statement within a hadith. So just remember these things. So definitive in meaning or probable in meaning. Definitive in authenticity or probable in authenticity. For example, we talked about Salat al-Tasbih. Salat al-Tasbih, is it definitive in authenticity? No. Is it probable in authenticity? Yes. Is it definitive in meaning? Yes. You understand? I'm just giving you examples. I know this is a gobbledygook probably. Alright, good. Awesome. Let's take a break, inshallah. I'll give your brain a break. Hopefully I blew your mind a little bit. Just a little bit. Inshallah. Okay? Let's take a break for literally 5 minutes. And then I'm going to immediately start, inshallah. Let's pause.